All right, Chicago Hockey Radio, Friday here to wrap up the week. Justin Lynch and Tassos Kirkos with Raven Gas Arm Productions. Thank you, fellas, for the night off last night. And you guys got a fun game to cover. You guys killed it. So, thank you for getting after it. That was great.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And thanks to the team for finally giving us a game worthy of a enjoyable post-game show, right? They didn't give us much to work with these last few games, but a win against the defending Stanley Cup champs. Yeah, I think that's a post-game show that you know is going to do well. So yeah, I think good to see for the boys, for the team, for us, and yeah, let's keep that momentum rolling.
We have a Connor Bedard jersey giveaway winner announcement. Shout out Walker Grand Champ. He won the giveaway. Yeah. So we sent him off a jersey this morning, and he should be getting that soon. So,
hell yeah,
yeah. Hopefully this weekend it should be. But yeah, shout out him. Shout out everybody that entered the contest. It means a lot to us. Yeah, we're gonna do more fun stuff like that, and keep following along for the show. And yeah, Lee met somebody that entered the giveaway the other day. I don't know if you guys talked about that on the post game last night, but yeah, I don't know. Like, it's cool. It's cool doing stuff like this. This has been fun.
That's cool. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to top the Bedsy jersey though. I'm not sure what's next, but yeah, we'll definitely have more of this in store in the future. I think we really appreciate just all the participation that we got from this, and yeah, it means a lot for sure. Yeah.
There were also Winter Classic jerseys. I thought about giving him the offer of being like, "Hey, do you want to do the Winter Classic jersey?" It was only like $10 more. And but it was nameless on the back, so I was like, all right, we're doing a Bedard jersey, let's do that. Let's
Is it a home or away Bedard jersey?
I think I got him in away one.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
I think
yeah, there was an away jersey on the info and the graphics, so I imagine that was what it was.
Yeah, I might have got him a home one though. I won't lie. Well, Raven and I were talking about it. They're both like, you can't go wrong with either one.
Oh yeah, no, Hawks jerseys are amongst the best in the NHL. So clean.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong. Yeah.
They are the best with like the striping on it and the logo and just the simplicity of it too. Yeah, big fan. Even fanatics couldn't really screw that one up. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're eye candy for sure.
Yeah. So shout out Walker for winning the giveaway. What else we got here? Lee is also live streaming the game tomorrow against Philadelphia tomorrow afternoon. 1 o'clock Central start that kicks off the 15-game slate Saturday in the NHL. So Lee's live streaming that. He talked about that yesterday too, right?
A little bit. 15 games. That means there's two teams who aren't playing then. Huh, interesting. But yeah, the NHL loves these packed Saturdays. But I'm looking forward to that game tomorrow. I think that should be a good one for the Hawks Flyers. Yeah.
Do you know the two teams that aren't playing? I have no idea what the two teams are that aren't playing.
There's like one game today. Is that probably the teams that aren't playing?
Maple Leafs are one of them, and there's another team in there. I don't know. Yeah, I think maybe the Penguins. Or no, they play Utah. I don't know. Not the point. But yeah, Lee's live streaming the game. Should be exciting. I'll be here for it too. Yeah, and then you and I will do the post game show after, right?
Hell yeah, for sure.
And we'll be done early, which is kind of nice. Get to enjoy the rest of the Saturday too.
Yeah, I mean, it's our first really true. I mean, we've had like 3 o'clock start, but we haven't really had like an actual like noon start this season. So that'll be interesting. I'm sure there's a few more of them this season. So hopefully the energy will be there. I know sometimes those afternoon games, they don't really have the same vibes or the same, I guess, intensity of a late night game, but hopefully that won't be the case tomorrow, and we'll get a good game to cover for the live stream. Yeah.
Yeah. It should be fun. All right. Thoughts from the Panthers game? I mean, like I have a few takeaways, but do you have any cleanup you wanted to do from the Panthers?
Yeah, no, I think it's just like we said, I think it's just a much needed win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 3 losses in a row, but like it had been over a week since we last won. I think the vibes are pretty low. I mean, Tavo talked about it, on the Ben Pope tweet. Like pretty much everybody's confidence was down, right? So I think it's a big morale boosting win. Hopefully it can be the start of something. But with this Hawks team, they tend to be very up and down. But yeah, I do find it funny. I noticed something. The Hawks had beaten both the Cup teams from last season, right? They beat the Oilers pretty early on the season. And they beat the Panthers last night. So it kind of goes to our point where they do seem to play their competition, right? They almost are stack up better against the better teams, and then the teams like the Sharks and Ducks that we should easily beat, we
Yep.
sometimes have a harder time with. So I'm not sure what's up with that. It's something where it's like you got to play the same way no matter who the opponent is, which this team doesn't really seem to do. But hopefully it's something they can work on. But no, I think it's a much needed win, and I think an important win for this team for sure.
Yeah, I like I mean, obviously just the fact that it was a 2-1 hockey game and you're coming out really on the right side of things for once finally, and it doesn't take Bedard scoring a lot. And yeah, I don't know, because we haven't really even seen that in the games that Bedard's produced. They've either lost or, not really, or it's been close or, but they haven't really been like coming out on these games when Bedard is the main contributor. So it is the things like the other guys stepping up. The level of competition is higher, like you said. It's like, hey, the Florida Panthers are in town. They just got their butts kicked by Winnipeg, and they're going to come in here hungry. We have to be on our toes. And right, like Nick Foligno was really good yesterday, and who else did I think was pretty good? I thought Bertuzzi was pretty good for a guy that has not been he's been ice cold lately.
He's been mid, yeah, for sure.
I thought he had a better game yesterday, and
Turbo to bounce back for sure.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, that's what you like to see out of this team, and that's why I say the things that I say sometimes about wanting them to go out and be more aggressive, whether that's like with the play, whether that's with the personnel they put on the roster, whether it's calling up young guys or making a deal here or something. It's because they know what they're doing. Like they know, like this is the National Hockey League. These guys know what they're doing. They have some pieces here that, the Joneses and the Vlasics and the Bedards and the Teravainens and the Bertuzzis that you have booked on to like keeping for the next 4 or 5 years, right? So if you're going to do that, at least you're either going to trade them like the Bertuzzi, but I don't think you're not going to do anything like that. The realistic thing is you're just going to bring in to augment to it, right? At some point, with mixes of those two things, the trades and the free agency and the call ups. But yeah, this team knows how to play. Like they know how to win hockey games against the really good teams. It wasn't the best night from Florida I've ever seen either. But I don't know, it was a good game.
I think it goes to your point. Like there should be more games like this, right? I mean, yes, this team doesn't really have as one great player. It doesn't really have a lot of elite talent, but there's a lot of good players on this hockey team, right? There is depth, right? It's a team that really should be in every game they have been, but they haven't been able to come away with these close ones. So I think it's good for them. I wasn't expecting them to last night. I was fully prepared for them to choke it away, but for them to hold that lead against the Panthers pretty much all night, a team like that, it's a good sign. It's something they haven't really been able to do. They actually scored an empty net goal. No empty net goals are being scored on us, so it's good to be on the opposite end of that for once, to just hold the fort, which is something that's tough to do against a team like that just wears you down. I thought they held true to the test, and definitely good to see that for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have anything else from the game.
It's funny. Night. Something we did talk about. It doesn't really have much to do with the game, but after the game on Puck Empire, there was this clip that was posted. These Hawks fans were chirping Aaron Ekblad all night. Aaron Ekblad responded by calling the fan who chirped him a quote fat fuck. So that was pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, Ekblad, I know he's had kind of a tough season, and but that was pretty humorous to see that. I mean, I guess the Madhouse of Madison, man, it's got the defending champs rattled there. I guess it's a tough place to play now. So, but yeah, in all seriousness, I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah, not a great look from Ekblad, but I like him a lot, and he's a cup champ, and you can't really, like, that guy is, way better of a hockey player than anybody chirping him. So
oh yeah, no, actually I don't like I that's probably how I would respond if I were in a situation. I'd be like, no, screw you. So
yeah, like, I don't think I would just like be like, oh, the cup ring looks really nice on my finger. But
yeah, that would be a good reply. You couldn't come back from that. No.
Well, I don't even think you need a reply for him, but
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Just pretend you don't even notice him. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It'll be interesting to see if they lock him up. I think they're more prioritizing Sam Bennett. Like, I think he's first. I think
he's more part of that team right now. For me, I mean, they have plenty of defensemen. I think we could probably I mean, because Ekblad at this point in his career, I mean, he's still decent, but he's nowhere near the defenseman he used to be in his prime. So I think he's more replaceable than Sam Bennett. I mean, you take out Sam Bennett from that roster, and that's a big hole to fill,
Hmm.
right? He's especially come playoff time. He's been such an important part of their success. So, and I mean, that's a guy. For me though, I hope they don't prioritize him because that's a guy I look at. I think we've maybe briefly brought up in the show. It's like he could be a good fit on this Hawks team in the future. So,
Who
but yeah, I
Bennett?
mean,
Bennett, right? Yeah.
yeah, you could throw a bag at him next summer. So, but yeah, I mean, for the Panthers though, it would make sense to prioritize him. I'd be surprised if they didn't. We'll see what happens there. But it's funny, Maurice kind of I alluded to this last night, but Maurice was worried about last night's game, man. He's like, this team's had our number. This could be the type of game, that we kind of take lightly. And I'm not saying they did, because I do think, well, I don't think it was their best game. They clearly woke up later in the game. Like the first period we owned, but the rest of the game, I honestly thought they kind of outplayed us. But yeah, I mean, it's just good to see from that aspect. Even the coach was worried about it, and we, held true. So, and Maurice even brought this up. He's like, I think Hawks fans should be more like, there's no reason for Hawks fans to be worried about their team right now, right? They have a superstar, they're still in the middle of this rebuild, right? So it takes time. And I think he had some pretty wise words just to kind of be patient. And I think Robb's fan base could definitely hear that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to talk Morgan Frost?
Yeah, sure. I think there was a rumor from Elliot Friedman on 32 Thoughts. That was yesterday or the day before that connected the Hawks to Morgan Frost. A player could make sense of this Hawks team. It would be something, right? I think we've been clamoring for something. I'm not really sure if that's a move that moves the needle that much, to be honest. I mean, Frost is a former first round pick, 40 points the last 2 seasons. Kind of struggled this year, but he's been in and out of the lineup. He's been scratched a few times by Torts. So like in a top 6 role in the Hawks, I think he could thrive. But I mean, we have a lot of players like that, I feel like, who are just kind of good, not great. I feel like you just throw another mid player there, but he is younger and he probably has some untapped potential. So maybe there's something there. I think if you can make a move for we're not giving up too much, I'd be down to do it. I'd be down for anything at this point. I'm not sure how likely it is, but I think I could see the merits, I guess, of both sides there. I'm not sure if it's a move that's like, okay, this is going to move us forward, but it could provide a jolt of offense that this team needs. But at the same time, if they get putting him in the 2C spot, I think there's a guy in Rockford we could easily put there, but the Hawks don't seem to want to do that at this point. So if you're not going to call up your guys, then maybe you have to make a trade, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just reading the 32 Thoughts thing that Friedman wrote. I could just read it here. It says player team that seem a match. Morgan Frost in Chicago. Frost hasn't played or didn't play Wednesday against Carolina, the 4th of the last 5 games he's watched from the press box. He's not a complainer, prefers to keep any displeasure behind closed doors, but players want to play. Obviously, any dance partner needs partners who deal, but the Blackhawks and their native centers are one team that makes sense for him. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I could potentially see. I mean, he's a guy who's probably hasn't lived up to quite what was expected of him, but he's shown flashes of it, right? Not like consistently, but if utilized properly, that's the thing though. He's got to be in the top 6, right? I mean, a lot of these guys in this Hawks team I vision playing top 6 minutes haven't always been there, right? Like Turbo's been third line a lot of times, and Bertuzzi's not really worked out the way we expected so far. So, I mean, if he's the 2C and he's playing with talented players, I think he could do well here, but that's a big if, right? I just feel like there's enough of a logjam as it is of players like that where I'm not sure if this is really, I think we envision like a greater move, like a more major offensive addition that would really, really spring this team forward. I'm just not sure that would be one that would do so.
Yeah, Morgan Frost is not driving the offense every night.
No. He's not going to drive like the second line offense, right? Yeah, no.
So yeah.
I'd rather call it Nazar.
I'd rather get a guy I'd rather call up Nazar, and I'd rather see if there is an opportunity for something bigger, like a first line driver of talent.
Yeah. Somebody played Bedard. I think this is another thing to talk about. The move to the wing was supposed to open up Bedard's offense. He didn't have a shot on goal last night. He has 1 shot on goal these last 2 games. He did have 2 assists in the Ducks game, but he was shut down last night. I think a big part of that, Lee mentioned this, is the fact that Jason Dickinson always goes against the best players in the opposing team, right, to shut them down. So that means it's now Bedard's job too, right? He's got to be the defensive shutdown guy. But it's like I thought that whole point of moving him to the wing was to open up his offense, and instead it's like he's having to play more of a defensive game because he's playing with Jason Dickinson. So, I mean, that's the thing. I think you got to get somebody else up there, though, right? Because Joey Anderson's he's not it. 1 assist in 11 games. Like, you can't really do much with a guy like that. So, I understand having him with Dickinson and kind of if he can take over the defense and Bedard can work with the offense, but you need somebody else on Bedard's on the other opposite wing who can play with Bedsy, right? So, if you're going to make a move or a trade, I want somebody like that, not, a kind of a mid edition like Morgan Frost, I
Unless
guess.
you can
Yeah.
get him for like a third round pick or something like that, or
Yeah,
maybe
like
like
if
a
it's for
third and a
cheap,
sixth, you know.
if it's for cheap, why not? We have so much draft capital, we may as well use it. So if it's for a third or like a mid prospect, okay, I'd be open to it. But if it's for
Yeah.
something greater than that, like a high draft pick or a pretty solid prospect, like who I wouldn't want to give up, I would not be down because I think we have the solutions here. We're just not really utilizing it, right? We haven't. I mean, there's a few guys in this team we've hardly seen with Bedard, like Bertuzzi. I don't think he's hardly played. Like put him up there. I don't know. Hall's hardly played with him. Like there's a few players in this team that we've hardly seen up there with him. Like, why not try them out first before you make a move like that? I think that's more for 2C, but that's kind of a different discussion having. But that's something I've thought about. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if Morgan Frost is the answer.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
And I think he was just saying like, you know, it just seems like a good fit. Maybe not like, hey, the Hawks are calling about Morgan Frost. I think it may just be like he thinks this is a good fit between player and team that isn't like a player that's not playing hockey right now, right?
Okay, that's fair enough. So Kyle might not be working the phones or anything like that, but that's
I
just
don't
his
think so.
intuition. Yeah.
Yeah. So the team that Morgan Frost plays on, the Philadelphia Flyers, Hawks are in Philly to take them on tomorrow afternoon. Like we said, Lee is live streaming the game live on the CHR YouTube channel. Thoughts going into the game? Are we feeling good? Philadelphia is kind of a dumpster fire. Mitchkov is
They
good.
are.
That'll be fun.
They are a dumpster fire, and like we're coming off a win against Florida, so like I should be feeling good, but I don't know. It's still a matchup that makes me a little nervous because we are kind of in a similar. Again, that's the team that we should beat, right? They're a team in a similar spot as us, a similar skill type of roster. So logically, I think, oh, this should be a game we win. But how many games have we seen it where this team then just loses to teams like that? So, and again, Mitchkov is so dangerous, right? He's a guy you got to lock down. But I do think Bedard and Michkov is going to be a fun matchup. I think there could be a good rivalry there, kind of like Ovi Crosby. So hopefully there's something that builds there. But yeah, I have a lot of dangerous players. And Travis Konechny, I feel like every time we play Konechny, he always owns us. So I'm fully prepared for him to go off. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a tough game, to be honest. Like, I hope we win it, but I think it's going to be close. But the Flyers have kind of owned us in recent memory, especially at the Wells Fargo Center. So we'll see. But I think it should be an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, their goaltending it'll be interesting to see who they start tomorrow, whether it'll be like Urson or Kolosov or Fedotov. None of them have been particularly great. I mean, I guess Urson's been the best of the bunch, but yeah, it's not like they really have a ton else going on.
Yeah, on the offense,
Michkov is getting better. He's getting better with each game, and I think he's way more perceptive than people give him credit for. You know? Like I think
he has more of a complete game. Like he's not just a goal scorer, playmaker. He can do it all.
And I think he's like trying to listen to John Tortorella and his teammates. And I think there are some good, like Eric Johnson's in that locker room, who was such a big part of that Avalanche squad that won the Stanley Cup and was there for like a decade and is one of Gabe Landeskog's best buddies, right? And yeah, I just think that's like a real, like they have like guys like Scott Lawton on the team that it's going to really help a player like Mitchkov, who, Torts is a tough guy. Like that's
he's been scratched a couple times, right?
Yeah, they scratched him twice, back-to-back games, and then they played him, and he
came back stronger.
Right? Yeah, he had 1-1, and then I think he had the overtime winner the next game or something like that. So I just that's the player. That's the player that I think someone on the Hockey News, not to like chirp anybody on the Hockey News, but they put out an article that it's like way too early, Macklin Celebrini versus Connor Bedard. And I don't think that Macklin Celebrini is really the player that Connor Bedard's going to get compared to his entire career. I think it's going to be Matt Vienna.
Same draft class too.
Yeah.
And people forget, like, going into that draft, it wasn't Bedsy versus Fantilli or Carlson, however. It was originally Bedsy versus Michkov, but because of the whole Russia situation, not playing in the international stage, he kind of got forgotten about a little bit, and that's a big part of why he dropped to the draft. But, I mean, he's definitely the player who matches up closest to him skill-wise. I do think Bedsy will be the better player, but I don't think the gap is, I will say this, even with my bias, I don't think the gap is as strong as we'd like to think. I think Michkov is not that far away from him. And right now, they really have pretty much identical stats. So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to watch throughout their careers. It's a shame they're in different conferences. It'd be nice to see them play each other more, but maybe there's a potential future Stanley Cup matchup there. We'll see. I do think they're two teams who got bright futures, but they're a ways away, both of us. But we'll get there. But he's definitely a fun player to watch, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in action tomorrow.
Philly just has way more pieces on the roster, like on the NHL roster too, right now that can finish. Not a lot of them are finishing. Like, I don't know that, guys like Joel Farabee and Noah Cates are really lighting it up right now, but yeah.
Yeah, Couture, since he had that hat trick, hasn't really done much either. So they're still waiting they're still waiting for some guys to reach their potential. Like Tippett's been kind of up and down. I think he's maybe taken a little bit of a step back compared to last season. Bobby Brink, they're still kind of waiting for him to break out. A few guys on his team, I think, who have more in them, but haven't really shown it. Morgan Frost, another one we talked about. And yeah, I mean, Farabee, what's going on with him? I feel like he had such a strong start to his career. He's been so kind of inconsistent up and down since then, but he definitely has more in him, I think, than he's shown. And a few guys who've been out too, that doesn't help, right? Like Jamie Drysdale, that was a big addition for them, and he's out right now. That doesn't help. Cam York, good young defenseman there, he's out now, so that's made it tougher for them too. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talent.
What do you think of that? Like, I know we're probably a year out from, or probably less than it's a year out, less than a year out. That was this year, the Gauthier Jamie Drysdale trade. But what do you think about that now? Like, I think Anaheim won that deal.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. No. I think so too. I know he got to a slow start, but he's starting to cook recently. I just look at those two players. I mean, I know Drysdale had a solid rookie season, but we haven't really seen much from him lately. Mostly because he seems like he's always injured. That's why we haven't seen much from him. And I feel like he hasn't really gotten close to his game since then. Whereas Gauthier, I feel like he just has so much more potential. I feel like his ceiling is so much higher, especially on that Ducks team that has so much other offensive talent, like McTavish, like Carlson. Zegras is finally starting to find his game again. Like, there's just so much more players around him to play with, especially in that structure. I just don't know how he's going to work out that Torts defensive structure. I'm not sure it's a great fit, to be honest, with Drysdale there. So I think between the two, I think the Ducks right now, early days, are the early winners of that trade. Yeah.
Yeah, even the late winners of the trade too. I don't know.
Yeah, honestly.
I don't see Drysdale's ceiling being nearly as high as Cutter Gauthier's.
No.
Not even close.
I'll say that trade really confused me at the time too. I'm like, well, I mean, I understood it later because Gauthier requested that trade, but it's like I immediately saw them, like, they got back Drysdale. I'm like, oh, they won. Like, that's an easy win for the Ducks. So no disrespect to Jamie Drysdale, still got plenty of potential, but I just don't think he's in the same level as prospect wise or anything like that.
Yeah. That should be a good game. It should be a good game. They're paying Fedotov 4.5, 3.5. Maybe I can get an accurate, but they're paying him like a lot of money the next couple of seasons. So they kind of need that guy to be
their goaltending's been rough, eh? I mean, ever since losing he who must not be named, it's kind of been rough there. But I think that's an opportunity. I mean, hey, Connor, circle that matchup, right? It's a goaltender who's struggling right now. That could be the game he solves this goal scoring drought, right? But and yeah, I think for the Hawks offense too, right? We finally broke through, got more than 2 goals. I mean, this is definitely a team you can, I think, expose a little bit from that regard. So hope there'll be more of a wide open game. We haven't really seen much of that from the Hawks. They're always these low scoring defensive games, but maybe this can be a little more high flying offense. I'd like to see a game like that. It's been a while. I'd like to see some goal scoring.
So Fedotov is in year 1 of 2 actually currently. I thought it was an extension, but he is in year 1 of 2 of a cap hit of 3.275. So a total of, what is that, 6.55 million over 2 years.
Is Earson's out, right?
Yes, in and out of the lineup. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's been all right when he's in.
Yeah, I think he's stronger than Fedotov, and I don't even know who the other guy is. Kolosov, he's struggling too. So
he's like some Belarusian kid, and he's young though. He's young. He's only like 22, I think. So
so I think that these guys got potential, but I mean, I think they're a ways away. But yeah, that's definitely the team's biggest struggle right now is the goaltending, because I do think roster-wise, I think it's a stronger team than us, but our goaltending's been a positive, unlike them. Like, it's complete opposites from that regard, right? Whereas Soderblom's surprisingly been a great tandem, which I don't think many of us would have predicted going into the season, but it's been probably the Hawks' biggest strength is their goaltending. So, and it's like, if they could just start getting those goals to come, because the defense has been all right, they could finally start to string some wins together. But no, that's a big if, right? We got to get Betsy and Co going. Yeah,
agreed. What else? I mean, any other thoughts going into the game? I think it should be fun. Hawks have an opportunity to maybe put 2 together here.
hopefully three together right after that. Because yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we put together a long or semi-long stretch of wins consecutively for this team. So it'd be nice to be able to do that. I think Flino says we should be playing 500 hockey. I don't know about 500, but I think better than last place, which to be fair, we aren't now. But let's get out of last place, right? Because we're tied at the Preds right now. Let's go on a little bit of a stretch here. I mean, there's no reason I think we can't. Looking at this like upcoming schedule, I think these are teams we could beat, right? We got the Flyers Saturday. I think Wednesday. Who we got Wednesday? Stars. Well, I say that, and then the Stars come up. But anyway, I think that yeah, that's a winnable game Saturday. You look at that, winnable games. That's definitely one the Hawks should be able to come away with. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just seeing if there was all the availabilities were long. Unless you want to listen to Craig Smith.
Oh sure. I'd like to listen to Craig Smith. Yeah, okay. He had a good game last night. Nice goal there. Yeah.
Now I'll send this clip to Raven. What else do we have? Oh, let's talk Jonathan Toews healing.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I send Raven this clip.
Yeah, how about that? So yeah, let me just bring up Toews' post. This is pretty fascinating. This guy's been all over the place since his retirement, quote unquote retirement, because he still hasn't technically retired. But yeah, he's been on some type of spiritual healing journey the past 5 weeks in India. So that's pretty fascinating. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the way he's been like going about things. It almost makes you think he isn't planning on fully retiring. Maybe he wants to come back. It's like he's trying to get his body back. He's gone through a lot the long COVID and how that's affected his body. It's a big part of why he's been out these last year plus. But I mean, he's getting up there, right? He's 36, 37 years old. I don't think he's got much more left to prove in this league. I think retiring is probably his best interest, but I don't know, like what the things he's been doing makes me think maybe he still thinks there's a comeback there. Maybe I'm speculating there. Maybe I'm on something. Maybe he's just living his best life right now, Mr. The most interesting man in the world. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. I hope he finds peace in whatever he's trying to do to figure out. Like, I don't know. That guy played a really hard brand and style of hockey. And yeah, the sacrifice that he gave to win those championships here is, I don't know that it gets passed by a lot of people, but I think some Chicagoans definitely, like people that I know in certain circles that are really big fans of the other sports teams, don't really understand what kind of impact Jonathan Toews had on this city. That's like a statue guy with him and Kane, obviously. Like they'll have statues outside. That's not a hot take.
He and Kane, I mean, I think I know there's 4 spots in Mount Rushmore, like in terms of Chicago sports athletes, but I think they both deserve a spot. I mean, just the sacrifice they gave. And with Toews, like, I think those cup runs and those long playoff runs, it definitely took a toll on him. I think he even mentioned, like, it'd been going on for a little while, kind of led up to the situation, that hell situation. But yeah, I mean, he gave everything to this city, to this team, and we should have, I think hardcore Hawks fans appreciate that, but sometimes the casuals just look at the stats. And like with Toews, like, yeah, I think the stats sometimes people look at them like, oh, he was overrated. But like people who know puck, he was as good on the defensive end of the puck as the offensive end. And just the things he brought outside the ice, the leadership, everything. Like he was amongst the top players in the game in his prime for a reason, right? And I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, no question about it. He'll have his jersey retired with Kane, and he's a legend. I miss him very much. Just miss seeing him out there. It's not the same without him.
But no chance he comes back? Any chance he comes?
I don't. It's not a non-zero chance. I'll put it that way. I think it's more likely he retires, but I don't think I would never write off Jonathan Toews completely. I wouldn't. He's still got some time. I think he's still got, even the way he was playing. I think he could still play in this league. Not the way he was, not in his prime, but he could still be a bottom 6 guy in a kind of contending team. I think so, but I'm not sure if he's really interested in that. He seems to be enjoying himself right now. So whatever makes him happy makes me happy. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Can we hear Craig Smith on team cohesiveness?
That's not an easy team to hold one goal. And just how much did you guys, had the defensive spots, but to have it from start to finish tonight?
It's good. It's good to stick together and get a win like that. I think that's a really good test. Good team over there. I thought we stuck together in the D zone. Maybe it looks a little passive at times. They certainly had their chances to score, but our goalie played great tonight and gave us a chance to win.
How much did you need that proof of concept that you can hold a lead in the third period against a good team like that?
Yeah, that was nice. It's nice to do at home, especially. Been away quite a bit, so this is a place where we have to be hard to play against. And they had a couple looks, but we held them. So it was a great win.
Nice pass from Maroon on yours.
Really nice pass, yeah. And I mean, he's a great player. I mean, he sees the ice well. He has great instincts out there. You know, it's a good look by him.
Yeah. Yeah. Good guy. Good guy. Hey,
No, I think that was a good addition. I think not just what he's brought off. I think he's been helpful to guys like Reichel, but I've been impressed. Like he's produced more than I would have expected. Like the way he's playing, it's like you expect more out of guys like Turbo Bertuzzi. But to be fair, they did have good games last night. But I think he's been pretty consistent. I think he and Maroon have actually been a decent, fourth line players. So I'm happy to have him here. I think he's been good. But something I'm just seeing right now, actually, something actually I don't think we brought up is Dickinson did take a puck to his hand last night. He was out for a little bit, but he did come back late in the game and played through it. But he's taking a maintenance day today at Hawks practice. Hopefully it's not an injury. Hopefully he's back, Saturday and all that. But Kurashev's in a spot right now, so I'm not sure if we'll see the Kurashev-Bedsy connection on that first line tomorrow. We'll see if Dickinson's back. Maybe not, but you do got to get Kurashev back in the lineup, though. But my point is we'll see what happens with Dickinson. Hopefully it's something minor. It's just a maintenance day. But yeah, I did think that was worth bringing up because I just saw that lines are otherwise the same, so that's good. I think Richardson, right? The way we played last night, there's no reason to really change things dramatically. Keep things the same. Let's get some continuity going and get the same combos rolling. We'll build some chemistry, and I think that'll help us get that streak of wins together, right?
Mm-hmm. Did you read the whole post of Jonathan Toews?
I read the whole caption. Yeah,
like you read all 3 paragraphs.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating, right?
Like you read it on the show, or did you read it?
Oh no, I just read it. I didn't read it on the show.
Because I want to read it right now.
Oh sure, yeah, go ahead.
Some of this, because this is absurd, honestly. Okay, some of you may know I've been on a bit of a healing journey. I've had many ups and downs, brief moments of hope working with a bunch of different doctors and modalities, followed by doubting if things would ever improve. But I recently spent 5 weeks in India undergoing an Ayurvedic detox called Panchakarma, and I'm happy to say things are trending. Ayurveda translates to knowledge of life and has been the healing science of India for over 5,000 years. This system views our bodies as delicate ecosystems influenced by everything we consume as far as energy, information, thoughts, feelings, and food. In short, it teaches our health that can drive when we learn to simplify our lives, create space for stillness, and better align ourselves with nature's rhythms. A Panchakarma is a healing protocol designed to restore your health by cleansing and releasing toxins stored deep in your body. That's awesome.
What? Wow, yeah. Taze is on some sort of a Doctor Strange arc over there, man. I mean, he's a very intelligent guy. I mean, everything I hear about him, I mean, some people think but no, I think everything you hear about him, his interviews and stuff, I mean, he definitely, he's a fascinating individual, Jonathan Taze. So
is he like married with kids or no?
No, he's not. Okay. It's a little surprising. I always imagined he would be the married one, not Kane. But yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes. But yeah, Jonathan Taze just living his best life over there. Pretty fascinating individual, man.
I guess it was, it's been almost 5 years of searching for a way to heal the inflammatory and immune system issues that took me out of hockey, right? So
yeah,
that's cool. I mean, hey, whatever gets you to it. Right? Like that guy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the fact that he's trying to fix that, I mean, it could just be for his overall health, right? In his life. It might not have nothing to do with hockey, but I don't know. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe there is one last Jonathan Taze comeback left in him. We'll see. Yeah.
All right.
He hasn't officially announced his retirement yet, so I do think that is very telling. Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we take a break here? We're keeping it short today since it's just the two of us, and Justin has to jet to class, so I don't want to do this show alone.
Yeah, well, I think the Hogs got a couple games coming up. They got one today and Saturday, so hopefully they can string together a run because that's a team that the way that roster should be winning more games. So see more from them. See Nazar continue to cook. If we're not going to call him up, just see him just keep playing the way he is. I think that's been a positive of that team. And overall, I think for the Hawks, like we said, good day yesterday. Let's carry it forward tomorrow, and let's see Bedsy get the board. I'd like to see that. Yeah,
let's see him get a couple. That'd be cool. All right.
For sure.
We're going to hit a break and it'll be quick and we will be back on the other side with the NHL Hour here to wrap up the week of podcasting on Chicago Hockey Radio. So stay tuned. Oh, whoops. NHL Hour, Chicago Hockey Radio. Friday, everybody. Bit off the rails here. Yeah, a lot of hockey on the weekend, a lot of hockey tomorrow, 15 games. We teed up Hawks Flyers for you pretty well here. We could talk Ovi. Brett Howden just signed a 5-year extension too with the Golden Knights. We can dig into that here, but let's do the weekend first before we touch on some of the other bits and pieces. 2 games tonight, 15 tomorrow, only 1 on Sunday. I love that, to be honest with you. I do love it. Like I anything above 4 or 5 games, I feel is like, you know, our job being to consume hockey, right? Like that's a lot of games, right? Like that's, you know, and then you get to up to 10 and 15 and like that's like 3 days worth of hockey games for me, right? So I like having, if you're going to do that twice a week to us, like give us a couple of days where there's 1 and 2 games. Like I'm all right with that.
I see your point. I like more balance, like because you go for like these 1 or 2 games to like then 15. It's like, why can't we have like a 5, a 6, a 7? Like, but I understand your point, right? It kind of gives you a break. But for me, it's like I need it constantly, right? It's like a drug. Give me the hockey. But yeah, no, a lot of interesting games this weekend for sure. Saturday should be an absolute cinema day for sure.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at like Avalanche Panthers. That could be an entertaining one.
That's a good
Potentially
one.
for sure. I mean, Panthers want to bounce back. They've had a couple of rough games here, most recently against us and the Jets too. So they'll want to bounce back. The Avalanche have been pretty hot lately, looking more like themselves. So that should be pretty back and forth, I think, for sure, that game.
Yeah, I got my eye on Dallas and the Lightning. That should be a big one. You get the original 6, Boston Bruins, Detroit Red Wings matchup.
Battle of mid there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, somebody's got to get the 2 points, so it'll be interesting to see who. Hockey Night in Canada is Vancouver and Ottawa in the early game, and then the late game is the late one, the Rangers at the Oilers, so that should be a good one too.
Yeah, the Sens got to get going there. They had that hot start, but since then it's been a bit of a struggle, so maybe that's a game that can get going. Canucks kind of starting to, they've been struggling a bit. Well, since the Hawks won, they've been struggling a little bit, so maybe the Sens could take advantage there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Besser injury is tough for Vancouver. And
how long's he out?
A few weeks, I think, more.
It's not ideal. They have enough injuries as it is, too, right? And JT Miller leave of absence. That's a lot of their core guys out. Yeah.
That's going to hurt. The JT Miller one is going to hurt, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Late game, though, Rangers-Edmonton, you feeling that one at all or no?
Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime McDavid's on, you got to feel it, right? And then the Rangers, too. That should be a good game there. I mean, I feel like Oilers every day you watch them, it's like a different team, man. You can never really predict how they're going to look these days. But Rangers have been pretty consistent, so that'll be a tough one for them. But yeah, I think that should be a pretty entertaining one for sure to end the day. It's a perfect one to seal the deal, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think honestly that's the matchup of 2 teams that should be Stanley Cup contenders.
Oh yeah, that could be your
need to figure it out. Yeah, right there, it could be, but I think. Also, those 2 teams right now are a long ways off from playing. Like the Panthers, you know, sure, they dropped 2 in a row, and that's fine.
They still look like the Panthers.
Yeah, they still look like the Panthers.
Yeah.
Some nights, like last night, Minnesota goes in there and just does their thing, and Edmonton gets the lucky goal right off the hop, and yeah, just nothing really going other than 97 and 29, right?
Yeah, and when those 2, like, you can't rely on them all the time, right? For sure.
Yeah.
You need more contributions from the rest of the lineup. I feel like a lot of those additions they've had haven't really done much. Like, what's Jeff Skinner done? What's Arvidsson done? Like, I've hardly seen them out there. They need those guys to get going. And Hyman hasn't had the season he had last year. Nugent Hopkins has been so mid. I mean,
he's been snake bitten.
Yeah.
Stuart Skinner, too, isn't really doing it for me either.
No, Bouchard's been so inconsistent too, but it's like with David Giroux, the only constant. Even they're not like as dominant as they have been in the past. But I think they'll get there, right? Sometimes they got the slow starts, but David had a slow start last season. He's starting to cook now, but that's not enough though. You need more, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm high on Buffalo too this weekend a little bit. I said it on the morning show, so I'm going to continue to take credit for it. That once Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen gets a good run of games here, like. Watch out. The Sabres are going to probably outpace Ottawa, Detroit, Boston right now.
I could see it right now because none of those teams are impressing me right now. No.
And I think UPL has been good. And you know, the constant back and forth of him and Levi and like who's the guy, and they you know they want it to be Levi, but UPL has just been flat out better over the last season and a half, and it's not that Devin Levi isn't going to be really good. It's just that UPL is better right now. Like,
Yeah.
And what they did by locking, like that could be your Allmark, like, but instead of letting him leave to Boston, you actually held on to him this time, right?
Exactly, right. Learn from your mistakes, right? Yeah.
So pick up some wins, like get a bunch of wins, and they got
Gotta beat the Sharks.
they play the Ducks tonight and the Sharks tomorrow. Like I would
Oh, there you go. You can win both those games.
like James Reimer is the backup for Buffalo now that Devin Levi's in Rochester. How do you not like start UPL both games? And
honestly, why not? I mean, the Hawks
unless you want to start Reimer tonight, we can look this up. Actually, I'm sure it's out now on DFO. But because Reimer was on the Ducks earlier in the season, so maybe they start him there. No, they're saying unconfirmed UPL.
Okay. For the Sabres, though, you can't take this Ducks team lightly. I mean, they are 500 just like the Sabres are, and they're a very talented team. So, I mean, if they take a lot out of them, that can make the Saturday game against the Sharks all of a sudden look kind of vulnerable, right? So, you need to show up tonight, and because they should come away with 4 points this weekend. They should. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Sunday, the only game is Utah in the second half of a back-to-back in Toronto to take on the Maple Leafs. So that should be a pretty entertaining game for that being the only one on the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have one game, that's the one. I actually swapped it. I thought Friday was one game and Sunday, but no, it's Friday 2 games and Sunday 1. But yeah, and Saturday 15. So the hockey guys work cut out for them tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, a lot of other games here that are kind of Stars Lightning. That should be a good one too. I mean, the Stars have looked like themselves, and the Lightning have I've mentioned it before. They've been better than I expected. I thought they'd maybe fall off. I think a lot of people thought they would have the Vegas of the East, right? People always say, "Oh, this is the year they're going to fall off," and they don't. But just keep it rolling. So. What else?
They get players. Yeah. They do what like I feel like the Penguins used to do. They're not really able to do it anymore, but I don't know. You just like get these players, these like undrafted guys that come up, and you know, I know you traded Mikhail Sergachev and got back Connor Geekie, but that guy's learning how to play in the NHL on the fly a little bit and doing it pretty well. But you have like a kid like Gage Consalvis who got his first point, and you know, Perbix and like some of these guys that just, you know, they bring up and they give shots to, and I don't know, they just like, they stick with these, like it's way better than some of these other teams that try and do that and think that they can. Mitchell Chafee is like a guy, like he's got 8 points in 18 games. I don't even know how that's possible. Mikey Acimont, even though he's been kind of brutal this year. But that guy has played well for them. The Lilleberg guy on defense. Oh, and Darren Radish too.
Taylor's brother. But I think a big storyline going to the season, right, was the Predators and the Lightning, right? Stamkos leaving, like who would be better off, right? And so far, it's been by far the Lightning, right? Because the Predators have tried that, right? They've tried bringing all these big additions to kind of not really replace, but kind of add to the team, and they had the reverse effect. It hasn't really worked out so far. I think Marchessault doesn't even have a 5-on-5 point yet this season. That's kind of insane to think about. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see. Yeah, I saw a stat that's like I think he might be the only players played like a certain amount of time and not have a 5-on-5 points. So that's kind of insane. They've all been the power play. So that's yikes, right? They're dead last in the league, and look at the Lightning. So yeah, so far they're better off.
Vasilevsky's been really good too.
He's looked more like his past self for sure. Yeah, I think he's definitely. If Russia would have an Olympics, I think he'd still be their top guy. I may have been wrong about that. I think I said he'd be the third, but no, I think you could argue he can start over, you know, Shesterkin or Sorokin even, maybe, or Bobrovsky.
The rosters for the 4 nations are due in 10 days, so we're gonna know here pretty soon.
Yeah, hopefully my boy, hopefully this slow start won't. I think he'll still be on Team Canada. I'd be surprised if he wasn't, you know, but. We'll see. I mean, but just to see how the rest of these rosters look, right, with the U.S. and Canada, I think it's going to be an interesting tournament just to see who's snubbed and who isn't. Yeah, a lot of competition to make this team. I think it's big for 26 Olympics, too, to kind of, insert yourself into that lineup, right?
Yeah. Let's do Ovi first. So it's a broken leg, a fractured left fibula. 4 to 6 weeks, the longest injury of his career, the longest absence. Previous was when he missed 6 games because of an upper body injury from November 4th to the 14th of 2009.
That's kind of insane. This is really the first like major. I don't even know if I want to call it. I mean, it is a major injury. He's out for over a month.
It's a major
it's
injury.
really, yeah, it is. And I think they thought it would be worse, honestly. Like as bad as it is. Like I think 4 to 6 weeks is kind of dodging the bullet from what people thought initially. So, but yeah, this whole career, however long it's been, 19-year career, this is the longest injury he's had. It just shows you how built he is, and hopefully this doesn't affect. I don't think it will, but he might not get the. We were speculating he might be able to get the goals record this season, but it might have to wait a year with this injury. Maybe not. Maybe he comes back and just goes an absolute tear and still gets it, but that would be asking for a lot, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how he's going to play, but such a nothing play too. Such a nothing play. I can't stand
those are the ones that make it
like
frustrating, right? Like it's just so like fluky. Speaking of the Capitals, they got a big game with the Devils on Saturday too. That should be an interesting one. Just the Capitals in general, like how are they gonna look without Ovechkin for this next month plus? I think he's kind of been a big driver, right? The reason they've been better than people thought. So I think it'll be interesting to see like how they look, right? By the time he's back, or if they're still in a playoff spot, or maybe they go on a bit of a struggle here, but maybe they can go without him. The thing is, the Capitals, the entire time always been there, haven't really had this problem for an extended period of time, right? He's always there, and now it's all of a sudden he's not. So that's your big producer. We'll see. It's gonna be interesting for them.
Yeah, I want to see him come back and rip it up.
Yeah, me too. Like, just carry him to a playoff spot. Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah.
What else we got here? Brett Howden. Let's do Brett Howden. 5 years, total of 12.5. That's an AAV of 2.5 million. Runs through the 29-30 season. 9 points, 20 games this season. Could have been a UFA at the end of it. Good, like Vegas did the same thing with like Zach Whitecloud and some of these different guys. And I don't know how long Keegan Colasar is locked up there. I think he might. I can look that one up too.
They like those role players. Like, I mean, those guys stick to the roles there, and they do well, right? I mean, Hound's been a big part of that team, and it's like you keep those guys in the mix. It's like you're going to keep the ball rolling. So I think that's a good good deal for them for sure.
Yeah, sometimes those deals like end up being not great though.
Yeah, maybe it's a little more than you would like. How much was it again?
2.5 for a fourth liner.
Oh yeah, I mean.
Like he can play higher up in your lineup.
That's the thing. Right? I think he's got more in him than that, right? I mean, on the Vegas, he's a fourth line. I think in other teams would probably be higher up in the lineup, but I think for Vegas, it's perfect for him, right? Yeah, they have a player like that in that situation shows you how deep that team is.
Keegan Colasar is actually UFA at the end of this season.
Really? Yeah, he's been big. Their big grinder guy over there. So he's always entertaining to watch over there. Yeah, for sure.
That guy's nails. I would take him on the Hawks any day of the week. I'd take him on my hockey team.
Yeah, it'd be your bodyguard, right? There's not much players like that left. They're they're not extinct, but they're endangered in hockey. So it's good to see guys like that in the Reeves, kind of keep that going.
But Colasar puts the puck. Colasar can put the puck in the net.
He can, but I mean, yeah, he's more there for his physical presence for sure. I would say
9 points in 20 games this season.
It's actually more than I would have thought, but yeah.
Yeah, 5 goals, 4 assists.
That's wow. He has more.
That's what I'm saying, dude. No,
he has more goals than my boy. Man, that's a little embarrassing, but
he has as many points as Howden. Howden has 8 goals and 1 assist for 9 points. Same amount of points.
Okay, well, I owe him an apology then. I wasn't familiar with your game, Keegan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good for him. Yeah,
but now like Keegan Colasar is going to go to you and be like, "Hey, like that's the deal I would like too." If you're trying to get this done.
That's true, right? I think you could definitely bargain there for sure.
And then you're spending $5 million on your fourth line.
Yeah, and like
but you're probably not going to keep him around.
The cap situation's kind of like, would they even be able to make that work?
I don't know. It's tight in Vegas. They got a lot of.
I don't know how they're always able to do it. I always look at that team like, how are they able to make this cap work? It's insane to me how they always find a way.
They have $191,000 in cap space right now.
Okay, yeah, so that would be kind of tricky, but he's probably not a guy that you would. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to keep all those guys. Some guys got to go.
Speaking of Vegas, were you like keeping up with this? Did we talk about this on the show? I forgot the Ilya Samsonov, Linus Ullmark beef.
I don't think so. No.
Were you aware of this?
I saw a snippet of it, but I don't know the whole story.
So I guess Linus Ullmark went on a podcast or said something somewhere where he basically said that he didn't know why in last year's first round series against the Maple Leafs that the Leafs kept going back to Samsonov because they had him figured out and they didn't have Joseph Wall figured out. And so the Golden Knights played the Maple Leafs this week and then the Senators back to back, and people were like, oh, like Ilya Samsonov isn't starting. Aiden Hill got the start and the Leafs won that game 3-0. And they asked Samsonov about it. He's like, no, I want the game against Ullmark tomorrow. Like, that's the one I wanted.
Ooh,
and,
I like that.
And they won 3-2, and Samsonov was pretty good. So that was kind of a wild story. I didn't not as many people were banning about that one, but I thought that one was pretty good.
That's pretty interesting. Like some goalie rivalries there, goalie banter. That's always interesting when that comes up.
Yeah, Ullmark has been just okay for the Senators.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's had the effect that I expected, right? I mean, all these years, it's like, oh, their main problem is goaltending. They could just get that figured out. I mean, they got the pieces there. And I look at that, like they do have the pieces. But it sounds like Brady Tkachuk, he's been kind of under fire there, right? Some rumors kind of circulating around him and other core players. So it seems like nobody's really safe at the moment. But yeah, I mean, Ullmark hasn't really been the difference maker we expected, right? Now, I think people saw that and like, oh, they're the team. They're the favorite. Those three we always talk about all the time. But right now, they almost look like the weakest. Maybe struggling with the Wings, but that's about it, I would say. I think the Sabres impressed me more. And even the fledgling Bruins, I probably have in over them, but I'm not sure. It's interesting.
Joe Sacco getting his first win.
Yeah, not pretty a 1-0 win, but you'll take it, right? I mean, a win is a win. But yeah, we'll see if the Bruins. I know Pasta wasn't very happy about the Montgomery firing, but yeah, we'll see how they respond.
Well, Pasta hasn't been very good, so
yeah,
that's kind of what you got to do. Should check. Did you see the first goal of the game between Minnesota and Edmonton last night?
Oh, that was the Vesa Toskala situation, right, with Draisaitl.
Yeah.
And then Fleury. Yikes! I mean, I love Flower, right? You know, I think we all love Flower, but I think we could all agree. Yeah, it's probably right that this is last season.
No, man, come on. That's not any goal that would have happened to any goal. It wasn't that. It was.
I'm not just saying because of that play, though. I mean, he's just not he's not the same Flower this season. I think he has been that way probably for the last couple of years. But I love Flower. I hate to say that, but just
that was
say
his
what
1,000th game.
That's even worse, man. A goal like that in their 1,000th. But
they
did get the dub. They did get the dub, to be fair, but that was maybe unlucky. Okay, but that was rough.
He's 4-0-1 this season.
Oh,
they play hard. They play hard when he's in the net.
Yeah, I mean, I think they realize they have to, right? But the Wild in general have been better than I expected. 13-3-3. And somehow we beat them, right? I mean, we were close to beating the Jets. We beat the Oilers. We beat we beat all these teams, the Panthers. It's like, then we can't beat teams that are close to us. It makes it frustrating as a Hawks fan. It's like, but anyway, that's the Hawks. But yeah, I mean, Central Division, man, it's stacked.
It is indeed. Probably the best one in the NHL, in my opinion, right now. Maybe the Metro. Maybe the Metro.
Yeah, Metro's pretty deep. It's kind of a tale of two. It's because you look at it, you know, the Hurricanes to the Rangers are all kind of bunched up, and then it's a battle of mid between the Islanders and Penguins, right? There's kind of a gap between those top four and bottom four. Central, I'd say it's probably more closer. Although having said that, the best team is first and the worst teams are last, so maybe I'm wrong in saying that. But
Pacific is sneaky the most competitive right now, though.
Anaheim is 500 and they're seventh. I mean, I think a lot of people would have the Pacific as the worst division, but right now it's definitely the division of the most parity. You could argue, you could give it that. And Atlantic, I think just nobody really seems to want to get that playoff spot there. It's like you have that top three, then nobody wants that fourth spot. They're all bound to see who could be more underwhelming. But yeah, it's an interesting kind of story between the four divisions.
All right. I don't think I have anything else for today. I don't know if you do.
No, I think I'm good for my end too. But yeah, interested to see what happens this weekend. Hopefully we can get more positive vibes going with this team. Get a win streak going here, which we haven't seen much of. And yeah, let's just keep the good times rolling here. After we've been through some dark patches. So yeah,
can we do one last thing? Actually, let's do this because people are talking about this a little bit today. Calder talk, a little bit of trophy talk. People are talking quarter mark of the
Oh,
season,
sure.
trophy talk. Who are you feeling for Calder?
Right now, my favorite would have to be Michkov. I'm
Yeah.
all over his trade. I do think you can't rule out Sudbury, I know he missed some of that time, but he's looked pretty good since he's come back, and I think he could still easily be. I think he's still his main challenger. Can't rule out Stankoven and Dallas, but I think probably that's your triple threat there. Who do you got?
Sneaky. I got Dustin Wolf. I think he's been unbelievable.
When's the last time a goaltender won the Calder? It's been a while.
It has been. Nedeljkovic was up for it
maybe
a couple
Steve
of years
Mason?
ago.
Was that the last time? 2009?
Raven, could you double check that when the last time a goal? I think
I might be wrong about
Steve
that.
Mason is such a pull. That's a good call.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I think that's a big part of why the Flames have been better than expected is because of him. They've got that goaltending they haven't really had the last couple of years since Markstrom. But yeah, I mean he could be in there. He could be in there for sure. But it's probably gonna be between Michkov and Selly, I would say.
Tassos, you were right with Steve Mason in the
No, that wasn't me. That was
Justin. Justin.
Yeah,
Good
hell
job.
yeah. I was not looking at anything. That was all me.
That was right off the dome.
Go. Yeah, there you go.
Lane Hudson's kind of out of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Every time I see a highlight of him, he does all this cool stuff, the stick handling and the shots, but he's never finishing. It's never like a goal highlight or assist. It's always like he's always walking the blue line doing his thing, but then sometimes it goes wrong and goes the other way for a goal on the opposite end. So it's something he's got to work on his defensive game. But he is so fun to watch, though. I mean, every time he's on the ice, you kind of perk up your seat, right? Because he can do something special. But yeah, he does have a lot to work on in his defensive game. That's for sure.
Boy, do you want to hear this? Macklin Celebrini on being 0-3 in the shootout so far. I'm letting my team down here. I haven't scored on the shootout yet. I know I can do better and be there for my team when they're relying on me to score in that shootout. I'm 0-3 right now, so I'm not happy with it. Woof. Speaking of Calder.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shootout, Macklin. I think. I mean, I know my thoughts, but I wouldn't go too hard on that. I mean, he has an overtime winner, so.
0-3 is pretty tough, though.
It is. Yeah, I see his point. I mean, it's good for a player, right? You should be critical of yourself and you should expect better. But I may want to put that, it's not a big deal for me.
Yeah. All right. That should be enough. That's enough Calder talk for us. We should do that though. Maybe one day we'll do a couple of awards with Lee or something. We'll do maybe like Hart and
I like
a couple
that.
of Vesna or something like that.
Yeah. Do we have any questions today? I don't know if we got to.
To be honest, no. Nobody sent in some questions.
Oh, disappointing. What are you guys doing?
Let me double check before we leave, just to make sure. But I don't think anybody sent any questions in. We got a couple like guest recommendations from our guest on Friday or on Wednesday. Thanks again to Colby Guy for coming in. But yeah, nobody sent any questions. Everybody was lame. So keep sending in questions if you guys have anything. Yeah, I mean, somebody asked if we should call up Frank Nazar, but I think that was a joke.
Yeah, I think they kind of answer that, right? They're happy to keep him down there. So for now, fine, but I do expect to see him at some point. But
I think he was jokingly asking that because of how much we talk about it on the show.
Yeah, if I'm going to be honest, just putting my Frank Nazar bias aside, like we're probably not going to see him on the Hawks until the 25 portion of the season. We're probably not going to see him for months at this point. Yeah. So I'm gonna stop yapping about every show to answer that question. I'm sure maybe it's annoying people. I don't know, but yeah.
And I guess people were big fans about Lee's story content from live from the game. I think people were enjoying that. But no questions, no questions. So send in questions. We will answer them on Fridays. We love taking questions. You can message them to us. You can video them into us. You can send us audio. We can play it on the pod, whatever, like a voicemail kind of thing. And yeah, we're always here and happy to take your questions on Fridays. But no, nothing really. All right, that'll do it. We will be back tomorrow. A lead live stream during the game against Philly, 1:00 Central, and me and Justin will be doing the postgame show right afterward.
Heck yeah. Hopefully the team gives us another positive post-game show, give us the content, and I think as more people watch when we win, right? So, but that's the dilemma of this team, right? It's like you don't really mind losing for the tank, but it's like you want to win because you want to see your favorite team obviously take the dubs and you want the show to do well. So yeah, give us something, Blackhawks. Yeah, right. Give us a good game.
All right. See everybody tomorrow.